Welcome everyone to MRM Sports. Man, it's been so long. I'm your host, Ronald M. Hey, the voice is killing us. It's been so long, man. I remember Sunday I was watching the City Spurs game, and a part of me wanted the City to win so that the title race becomes epic. The Arsenal versus City game becomes epic. Monday I'm at work, I'm on site. The breaking news hits. Manchester City are being charged by the Premier League for what? How many? Over 100 charges. Over 100. Do you know how dangerous that case is? I mean, picture this yourself as an entity. You catch over 100 cases, over 100 charges. You're being charged with 100 different charges. I mean, that's hectic. And immediately, man, I was on my WhatsApp groups with your fellow football fans and friends, and we're discussing obviously the City charges now. It's not about the Premier League and Chelsea and people like me and Chelsea. It's the City charges, and we're thinking to ourselves, man. And I was one of those who was adamant that City won't, if the charges are proved to be correct. I mean, if City accept the charges or whatever, of course they're going to fight them. I mean, anyone would fight over 100 charges, man, with the hope that maybe two of them, only two might stick, But then it was one of those that I was saying that City are too big to be relegated. I think maybe I can see transfer bans being imposed. I think if a City would accept maybe a 2-year transfer ban or 2-year transfer ban away, maybe you're banned from 4 different transfer windows from signing players. Maybe you can release players. Similar to what Chelsea went through with the 2 transfer ban. I think City, if you're to offer City that deal now, I think they will take it. I genuinely think that them having points deducted, specifically for this season, or them being kicked out of the Premier League as a whole, I think that would really hurt City. And then I was thinking, City are too big of an institution. Surely. I mean, I'm not the only one who thought that City are too big of an institution to get banned, banned from the Premier League. And I was thinking, but at the same time, no club is really bigger than the Premier League. But then you can't take away what City have done over the 10, 11 years. I mean, essentially when Aguero scored that goal, when Aguero scored that famous goal, I mean, if City, this is actually interesting. I mean, are they trying to say that they're taking away that Aguero moment from our memories? Are they taking away that Aguero moment from City's first memories, to be more specific? Are they taking that memory away from Aguero as a whole? I mean, that if you think Aguero in the Premier League, your mind jumps to that Aguero moment. It doesn't jump to him scoring a hat-trick against Chelsea or whatnot. It jumps to that career-defining, that club-defining moment where City won the title after so many years, after over almost a century. I mean, that what defines City's era from, in all honesty, if you think of City's era beginning, yes, we can see the money coming in 2009, but then that Aguero moment defines City as a club. So are they taking that away? I mean, that's the most iconic, for me, that's the most iconic Premier League moment, or most iconic league City have ever won, other than the Centurions and whatnot. That was such a symbolic way they essentially broke into the top 4. They essentially broke into Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal and United. They essentially broke into that element of that high class of the Premier League. So what? Are they taking that away? But then, it is what it is, man. I think everyone will be interested to see the turnout of these charges. And of course, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. These charges, it's not like the judgment will be passed like a month down the line, or maybe in April when the Premier League is hot, when the final race is being run by Arsenal and Manchester City, or even in May, just before the title is handed over, and then they're saying points have been taken. No. I think this would drag for maybe a year or 2 or 3 years. So it would be interesting to see how City handle all that. I mean, you can already imagine what Pep Guardiola is going to go through the press conferences for this weekend's games, man. What will the questions be to City? I think everyone knows Pep will have to answer these allegations, and it's quite key that the club put out the statement that, of course, we were surprised about this. We're not guilty of anything. We didn't do anything wrong. And it's essentially that, man. What can they do now? It's just, I was reading some reports where they're saying they've hired the best lawyer who want the same amount as I think Kevin De Bruyne is earning, or Kevin De Bruyne is whatnot, to defend him from these charges of the Premier League, and to essentially prove City are not guilty. Which is, on its own, man, this from a footballing perspective, in all honesty, this brings a different twist to the title race. what does this do to City's mentality? Of course, we've seen over the past few games that City are not themselves. They defeated Spurs. City's Pep's choices or Pep's starting 11 being questioned. I mean, how do you leave Kevin De Bruyne in a big game like that? Leave him on the bench for him not to come to the game late to try and affect the game, essentially. So what does this do to City as a team? I mean, does this galvanize the whole club that, you know what, they're fighting against us? Is Pep that kind of a coach that will say, everyone is going against us, we have to prove them wrong? I think he partly did it last season when almost every pundit wanted Liverpool to go on and win all the 4 trophies. And Pep was like, it seemed like more journalists on TV, on radio, whatnot, more media, football media personalities, they all are on Liverpool's side. I mean, no one is concerned what we're doing good, and that seemed to galvanize the team to fight more. I don't know if this time around, because Pep has always been the manager that strikes me as the manager with the perfect, clean image. I mean, if this was like a Mourinho who's telling his players they all want to hate us, they don't want us to form a dynasty, they don't want us to win 3 trophies back to back, 3 Premier League titles back to back, let's prove them wrong. I could see Mourinho getting into his players' mind and psyching them up to believe that the world is against them. This will be interesting to see if Pep can do that with all these charges laid on him, man. It'll be interesting to see if Pep has that I don't want to say balls because it's Pep Guardiola, but then those guts, that fire in that pains that, you know what, if the club is going through this, I believe my club is innocent. Let me prove to you that even on the pitch, if you're saying what we're buying these leagues, let me show you that our football is the one who wins at these leagues, essentially. So it'll be interesting to see how Pep handles this. And as a Chelsea fan, man, I mean, with City being charged like this, you can't, as a Chelsea fan, a club which has spent that kind of money, over 500 million, almost 600 million, 300 million in January. I mean, as a Chelsea fan, it really eats you away a bit that in 5 years' time will it be investigated? I mean, obviously they'll kick off from Todd Bowley's era. I think from Roman's era, when Roman came in, they introduced some form of financial fair play to make sure that Pep, that Chelsea abide to, that they just can't spend the Russians' money like that. So you can't help but think, I mean, with the money Todd has been spending, did he surely find a loophole where it can't hit us back? I mean, did we surely find a loophole where we won't get transfer bans and we won't go through what we went through with Lampard and Roman Abramovich, or will you be kicked out of the Premier League like what City have been threatening to do? I mean, you can't help have those questions in your mind as a Chelsea fan. And in honesty, to be hoping that none of it is true. Be hoping that Todd Bowley, the clever Todd, I mean, the cowboy came in, he saw some rules, he exploited those rules, those loopholes in the financial fair play system. And of course, I had, like, UEFA is capping all clubs to allow all clubs to sign players to 4-year contracts, something like that, to essentially stop Chelsea from what they've been doing all along. So is it, with that reaction, is it a sign of, okay, they accept that Chelsea found a loophole and then they close the tab, or maybe the closing the tap is the beginning of the stage. They're like, oh, no. Let's look at what Chelsea are doing with these players. Let's look at the contract setup, the finances involved, how they're broken down. If they find loopholes, I don't think it'll be severe as City's loopholes or City's allegedly breaking of the law. But then, as a Chelsea fan, you can't help but worry. I mean, it's a good thing that we've stocked up players. It's a good thing that if ever found guilty, we have about 30 players plus the academy to pick from. So that it is what it is, man. But then, in honesty, I can't wait to see how this plays out for City and how the players handle it, how the City players handle that. I mean, imagine the rivalry fans, wherever City go. I mean, the chance will be there. I mean, you bought the leagues, you financial dopers or whatnot. I mean, imagine the game on the 15th of February at Arsenal, man. How Arsenal fans will be chanting, what Arsenal fans will be chanting. I mean, everywhere they go. I mean, this weekend, City are away to home or away to Aston Villa. What the Villa fans will be saying. Of course, already they're saying they don't have the Champions League. Imagine what they'll be saying about the financial fair play rules, man. But then it is what it is. And in all honesty, my judgment on it is, if City did cheat the system, yes, it's unfortunate, but then to see them being relegated, I mean, in as much as I would love for City to be relegated, because I don't think any other team can really go on a run that City have. I don't think United can. I don't think Liverpool can. I don't think Arsenal definitely can, or Spurs. So it gives Chelsea a hope to actually build something in 2 years' time, or even a year's time, for us to be really going for the title. Because let's face it, with Thomas Tuchel, if City wasn't at the helm, I could handle fighting Liverpool for the title, but then with City and Pep's obsession with football, it's always been going to be a difficult task. So it's one of those that, as a football fan, I wouldn't want City to be kicked out of the Premier League, because, in all honesty, they have contributed massively to what the Premier League is today. They've contributed massively. I mean, the battles with Liverpool have made the league more watchable. So for them to be kicked out of the Premier League, it doesn't sit well with me. But then we'll see how it goes, man. Definitely keep an eye. Definitely react to the news that will break along the way. And hopefully, I mean, this is another twist and element to the Premier League. The gift that keeps on giving, man. I'm your host, Ronald Dem. I'll definitely continue to drop more content around this, this amazing groundbreaking story, man. Cheers.